Welcome to the fastest stop in town. Today on the Rosh Hashana Daf Lamed Aleph, we are going to begin on the top of Lamed Aleph, top line. Tanya, Rabbi Huda Omer Mishum Rabbi Kiva. Barishayin Maho Oimrim. So what do we say in the Beis Hamikdash, also for ourselves, Shishal Yom, on Sunday? Lashem Har Tzimloa Al Shem Shekana V'Hikna V'Sholet Ba'Olamai. So we say this because Hashem fills up the entire world and is kaina and rules over the entire world. B'shenim ha'oimrim gadol Hashem v'hu ma'od al shem shechiluk masav u'malach alehem. So Hashem divided up His creations on the second day. Says Rashi, Hivdil Rikia bein elyonim v'tachtainim. He separated between upper and lower waters, and He ruled over them. B'shlishi ha'oimrim elokim nitzav b'naskel al shem shigila eretz b'chachmasai, that He revealed the world with His great wisdom. The Hechin Tevel la'adasai, and He created and fashioned land by separating the water and making it now dry land, which is the third day. Hashem created the sun and the moon on the fourth day. And He will end up paying back for those who serve Avodah Zarah, worshiping. So it'll be a form of nekama. It doesn't say Ma'oimrim. Harninu Elokimu Zenu, as we mentioned already, that on a typical Thursday, that is what we say. And why? Al Shem Shabar Opos V'Dagim. Hashem created on the fifth day birds and fish. V'Shabeach L'Shmoi, which praised His name. Says Rashi, Kish'adam Roi Opos Meshunim. When a person sees all the different types of species of birds, Zemizen Nice and Shevach HaMishabarim. So that's what inspires people to acknowledge and to praise Hashem. When you study nature and the beauty of the world, it's like going to a zoo and seeing the beauty of all the different species is actually a great thing, because it will inspire you to Shabbat Hashem. B'shishi ha'yomrim Hashem malach gyoyis levesh Hashem shegamer malachtoi, that Hashem completed on Friday His work. V'malach alehem, and He rules over them. B'shvi ha'yomrim mizmor shalom Shabbos, the Yom shekulo Shabbos. Of course, that makes sense. It's Shabbos, so we say that. What caused the Chachamim that they wanted to be able to divide between these chapters? Says Rashi, Shekol Sheshes Yomim, all the 6 days, says Rashi, Nimarim Haprakim Halolu, Al Shem Sha'abar V'Shel Shabbos Al Shem Haba. So all the other ones are in the past tense, and Shabbos is Lahaba. So Avar is in the future, and Shabbos is Lahaba in the past. Al Berishin Shekana V'Hikna V'Shalat Ba'Olamai V'Sheni Shechiluk Maseh B'Malch Alehem V'Shlishi Shegila Eretz V'Chachmaso V'Hechin Table Adaso. Again, this is all past. V Shabar Chamel Avayna V'Yasel Yiparim V'Yisehen V'Chamishi Shabar Oifas V'Dagam V'Shabach Shmai V'Shishi Shegamar Malata V'Gamar Lehen V'Shvi Al Shem Sheshavas, that He rested. So therefore, again, on Shabbos, not that, as we said, Mizmor Shul Shabbos L'Yom Shekul Shabbos. So instead, it's said that it's Al Shem Sheshavas. So He keeps everything consistent in past tense. The Kamifli B'Rav Ketina. Yom Rav Ketina Shita Alpe Shnei Havi Olma V'Chan Choruv. So this is a famous Gemara that 6,000 years the world will live, and then eventually it will be destroyed. Shenemar v'niska v'Hashem levadoi v'yomahu. Okay, says Rashi. V'kamith l'Rav Ketina. Rav Nechemia leisli Rav Ketina el dibai hilkach leikol meimer al shem yom echad shekul Shabbos tahot treininhu. Okay. Amar Abaye trei charuv. Actually, 2,000 years it'll be destroyed. Shnemar Yechayenu miyomayim. That will bring back us alive in days. But fine. But Musafi the Shabbata Mahayoimrim. So this is what was said on a weekday. How about when it comes to the shear on Shabbos by Muslim? This is actually TA 15. They want you to know this. So Amarav Anan Barab Amarav Haziv Loch. V'Amarav Chanan Bar Rabba Amarav Kederch Shechalukim Kan Kachalukim Bebeis Achnasas. So first of all, what's Haziv Loch? So Rashi says, Parsha Shiras Hazinu. So in Hazinu, Chol Kenoisel Shisha Prakim is divided into 6 chapters. Harishon Hazinu Hasheni is Zachim Osayulam, which is the second Aliyah that we say on a weekday. Hashlishi Yarkaveu Al Bimsi Aretz Ravi V'Yer Hashem V'Yinat Ad Kan Shisha Psukim Leperik Umikan V'Elach Shmoyne Psukim. The next one is 8 Psukim Leperik Chamishi V'Uli Kas Oivi Agor V'Shishi Ki Yodan Hashem Amoy. So again, this is what it means. It's how it's divided. So he says, just like it's divided in Birchas Hazinu, so too we will do the same thing when it comes to the Beis Achnasas. Says Rashi, Kach halukim bebeis Achnasas, kach karinoisa shisha hakarim b'sefer Torah. 6 will read it. Nashi karim min hashirul halon. And then the 7th person will read from the shir onward. Question 1. Alma amr b'gemar kadesh shachlukin kan kach halukim bebeis Achnasas. Parshas Hazina shechelkua l'mustafi vav shabbosais. There was actually 6 Shabbos. They would read or sing each one, certain sections. It was a 6-week rotation. Kach halukin levav kairim b'kriyasa bebeis Achnasas. That's how Parshas Hazina was divided up, basically, when we read it on Shabbos. The Minchasa, which is again, this is going to be question TA 15, the Shabbatah, Mincha Shabbos, Maha Oimrim, Omer Rabbi Yochanan, Oz Yashir. Umichamoicha v'Oz Yashir. So Yiboyahu, Hani Kuhu B'chad Shabbat Armilu. Was that all said on one Shabbos? O Dilma Kol Shabbat V'Shabbat Armichad. Maybe one pasuk only, and then they would switch and rotate. Tashma, the sign Yom Rabbi Yosi Ad, Shehari Shainoi Meres Achas. So the first one who says one pasuk, Shniach Chazeres Shtayim. The second one will finish the cycle 2 times. Shema Mina Kol Shabbat V'Shabbat Amrichad Shema Mina. So therefore we see that every single Shabbos they only said one pasuk. Not that they did all of it in one shot. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Bar Idi Amar Rabbi Yochanan Esther Masayis Nasta Shechina Mikroi Ukenegden Galasa Sanhedrin Migamara. So the Shechina was removed gradually from Klal Yisrael, and the same thing when it came to when the Sanhedrin left. We didn't just leave all quickly, but it was a gradual progression. So how do we see this? So first of all, Esther Masois Nasa Shechina Mikroi Mikapiris Lekruv. The Shechina was by the Kapiris in the Kodesh Kodashim. The Kapiris, which is above the Aron, the covering of it, it went to the Kruv. Mikruv Lekruv, and Mikruv Miftan, and then finally went from the Kruv to the threshold of the Heichel. Miftan Lechatzer to the courtyard, Mechatzer Mizbech, Mizbech Legag to the roof, and Megag L'chayma to its walls, and Mechayma Le'ir to the city of Yerushalayim, Me'ir L'har, and then finally it made it to the mountain, which is referring to Har Zaysim. That's what Rashi says. Me'ir L'har is Har Zaysim. Me'har L'midbar, Midbar also V'yashlim Kayma, and there it basically returned to its place. Shenamar Eilech Hashuva El Mikaimi Mikapitis Lekruv 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 Lemiftam Dechsiv Venodati L'Chasham V'Dibarti Idcham Yal Kapirus. The Shechina was there. Uksiv V'Yirchav Al Kruv V'Yoef, that it rode on the Kruvim and then flew away. Uksiv, the pasuk also says Ukvod El Kei Yisrael Na'ala Miyal Kruv, that the Kavod, the Shechina, left the Kruv Asher Haya Olav, and it went El Miftan Habayis until the threshold of the house. When Meliftan L'Chater Dechsiv V'Yamali Habayis Es Anan, that the house was filled up with this cloud. The Chatzer Mola Es Naga Kabod Hashem Mechatzer Mizbech. So it was filled up, this naga, this light of the honor of Hashem. It went from the Chatzer to the Mizbech. The pasuk says Reisa Es Hashem Nitzav Al Mizbech. And the Mizbech Lekach L'Sev Toiv L'Sheves Al Pinas Gog. Good those who dwell by the corners of the roof. And Megag L'Chaim Dechsev V'Hine Hashem Nitzav Al Chaimas Anach Mechayma Le'ir Dechsev Kol Hashem Le'ir Yikra, that Hashem is found by the city. I mean, Ir L'Har, they say, V'yal Kabad Hashem, V'yal Toich Ha'ir, V'yamad Al Hahar. The mountain, Asher Mikedem, which is by Le'ir, which is on the east of the city, which is, again, that's referring to Har Zaysim. Mehar Midbar, D'chsev Tayvut Sheves Be'eretz, Midbar. Midbar also V'yashim M'kayim, D'chsev V'yel Chashuva El M'kayimi. Oymer Rav Yochanan Shisha Chadashim Nis'ak V'Shechina Yisrael B'Midbar. It was actually 6 months that the Shechina remained in the Midbar, just waiting. Shem Yaksa B'Tshuva. Maybe the Jewish people will do Tshuva, and then the Shechina will go back to its original place. Kivan Shaloi Chazru. But once after we had so much time that we didn't change, Amar Tipach Atzman, which basically means that the Shechina completely removed itself. Shenemar Ve'eni Rishayim Tichalena, that the eyes of the wicked will go away. Umanais Avad Minhem, the Sikfasa Mapach Nafesh, and there should be salvation helping for those who are Mefache Nefesh. So Kenegdan goes to Sanhedrin. So not only did this happen, but also it was Kenegdus in the Sanhedrin. I just want to see one quick Rashi before we turn to Amud. Nitzav al Mizbech. When it says one on the Mizbech, the Apakav says Rashi, the Haikra Amois Kamar Le. This pasuk is actually in Amois. The Amos Mikmei Yecheskel Doris Harbe. Amos came before Yecheskel. Haimis Nave Alo Osid. Yal Korchach Siluku Kesidron Hayu Derech Yitzias Chutz. So basically, he was saying that even though this is mentioned in Sefer Amos, it's alluding to what will end up happening later on. Okay. So again, connecting Golsim is a Sanhedrin. Megamari Melishkas Hagozis. So the Sanhedrin was in the Kodesh HaKodashim, in the Lishkas Hagozis, in that chamber room, and it left there. It went lechanus, like literally to like a store. That's what it literally means. Mechanus Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim liyavne. Let's look at this last Rashi on the Amud. Melishkas Hagozis lechanuyos. Chanuyos asalahem b'Har Bayis. They did little stores by the Har Bayis. Yashvu Sham, and the Sanhedrin sat there, that they can no longer try capital cases, because they saw there were so many murderers. As it says in the Sanhedrin, the Kol Hanach Goliath the Sanhedrin the Bayis Sheni Kaimer. This is referring to the second Beis Hamikdash, Umasais the Shechina b'Bayis Rishon Kaimer. When it came to the Shechina leaving, that was in the first Beis Hamikdash. As the Gemara in Yoma says, one of the 5 things that the second Beis Hamikdash was lacking was the Shechina. Fine. Right in the Gemara, Yerushalayim liyavne. So we know that the Sanhedrin eventually stationed itself in Yavne. Umiyavne Usha Usha liyavne, eventually went back. Umiyavne Usha kept going back and forth. Usha lishparam. Mishparam with Beis Sharim. With Beis Sharim with Sipori. And with Sipori with Tiveria. There was actually a Sanhedrin that was in Sipori, then eventually went to Tiveria. The Tiveria Amuka Makulan. Tiveria was on a very low spiritual level. Certainly when it got to that level, it says Rashi Shvelim Hoyu. That was the lowest point. Shenemar v'shafaltim eretz tidaberi. Rabbi Lezer Omer Sheish Golos. There was 6, says Rashi. Heishach Chada, Yashpilena Trey, Yashpilena Talos, Eretz Arba Yagienu Chamisha Ad Efer Sheish, the Matzal Memer Yashpilenu Ad Eretz L'Afar. Fine. Shnemer, and this is what the pasuk says. Ki Heishach, which is the lower part of Yoshi Maraim, Kiria Niskava, this was like a glorious city. Yash Pilena, it went down. Yash Pilena, it says again, Ad Eretz Yigiena, Ad Afar. Amar Rav Yochanan, Yishom Asidin Li Goyel. And from there, the future, we will be redeemed. Shenemar, his Nari Miafar Kumi Shuvi. They should shake off the earth from me, and we will eventually be redeemed in that place. Next Mishnah. Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. Ba'od Zos Hiskin Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai made the following takana. Shafil Rosh based in B'chol Makoim. Even if you have the Rosh based in this important person, Shlo Hoya Edom Hoichin Elo Makom Havad. Which we end up saying it means that they're able to go to where the witnesses can go to this place, even in the absence of the Rosh Basin. Rashi says, Shal Yeshiva Heilchu, they should go to this place. The Sanhedrin Yakdishuhu, the Sanhedrin came in Mekadesh their words, below Rosh Basin, even if the basin is not present. Rosh Basin is not there. Hayis saw there was a woman, Yazmanu Ladina Kamedia Meimar Benardoi. She was summoned to court in front of a Meimar. Ozla Meimar L'Mechoiza, V'loi Ozla Basrei. So a Meimar went and she didn't go after him. Kosav Psicha Ilva. So he wrote, says Rashi, Shtar Shamta, like a letter of excommunication upon her. Amrlei Ravashla Meimar B'Hanan Tanan, I feel Rosh based in B'chol Makim Shlo Hayu Edom Hoychen El Makim Havad. She doesn't have to follow you, right? So why? That's what the Mishnah seems. So Amrlei Hani Mili Le'inin Edis Achaydish. The only time you don't have to follow to get to the Av Basin and the Rosh Basin is for Edis Achaydish. And the Imkain Nimsas Makshin Los and Lovely, which is question 5TA. Madua Tiknu Be'edus Achaydish Shafil Rosh Basin B'chol Makom Lo Yehu Edim Hoychen El Makom Havad. That you should still go to the Makom Havad, because otherwise you're going to cause people to be nechshel if you require him to follow wherever this Av Basin is. Abul Hacha Eved Leibel Ishmalvet. So a person's like an Eved, so she has to follow whatever she has to do. She has to go. Tanaban in Kohanim Rishonim Lalos B'Sandalehen or Duchen. A Kohen is not allowed to wear shoes when he duchens. V'zu Echad Metisha Takanos Shehiskin Rav Yochanan Zakai. There was actually 9 takanos. She's the high pirka, 6 in this parak, v'chada the pirka kama, 1 in the previous one. The idach the tanya gersh gayer, convert bizman azeh sarach shiafresh roiva lekinai. He should set aside a quarter shekel for birds, so when the Beis HaMikdash comes, he'll be able to give various donations. So Amar Rav Shimon ben Lezer. He said, no, don't do that. There's a takala that can come, because that money sticks around and it's sanctified. He may misuse and misappropriate those funds. So better that a ger should not do such a thing. The idach pluted Rav Papa of Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Rav Papa oimer kerem ravai. When it comes to the 4th year, by bringing that fruit to Yerushalayim, Rav Nachman Yitzchak Omer Loshen Shel Zahiris, which we'll discuss what these things are. Which the Loshen Shel Zahiris is on Yom Kippur. So Papa Omer Kem Ravai, what is that? Tanya that we learn, or Titnan Kem Ravai Hoy Al Yerushalayim. And this we actually had this in the beginning of Seftas Beah. Kem Ravai they would bring to Yerushalayim. Mahalach Yoim L'Chol Tzad. You would have to bring it. It could not be redeemed if you were within a day's journey. Jerusalem in any direction. V'zuhi tchaim, and this is the directions, a day's journey that you cannot redeem it, but you have to actually bring fruit. Elas min ha, this question, what we read over here, a safon, Yerakavas min darom, or min, that's a safon, Lod min hamarim, Yardim min a mizrach, Yarma'ula v'yitem Rabbi Bar'ula, Rabbi Yochanan, my tam, what's the reason why you have to bring all these fruits, and why don't you just bring money? It's Kedei L'Ater Shulchan Yerushalayim B'Paris. We want you to be able to bring a lot of fruits and adorn Yerushalayim with it. The Tanya Kermavai Hoyel Rav Eliezer B'Mizrach Lloyd. He had it beside Kfar Tevi. Because Rav Eliezer Lafkiru Aniyim. He wanted to make it orderless to the poor. So Amr Lo Talmidav Rebbe Kfar Nimnu Chaver Chalav. They already decided V'Hitiruhu, and they mocked this. Says Rashi. Yerushalayim, Haperas Atzma, the fruits. Afal Gav, the Minatayra, Bain Meiser Sheni, Bain Kermavai, Niftin, Mischalin, Bipsia Achas Chutzachayim. Technically, even just one step outside of the wall should be enough. You should be, could redeem it onto money. Says Rashi, Rabbanan Geyser B'chol Mahalach Shel Yoim Echad Shiolom Yochlam Sham Kinil Ater Shuk Yerushalayim. They made this exception. No, you can't do that. So again, what do you want to do? You want to mafkir the fruits, so that says Rashi, she Yusuf Sham Peros v'Ochum Sham Shahay Olav Torach La Loisam. It would be very difficult to have to bring all those fruits. You didn't want to have to do it. So Man Chaverecha. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai mattered. Mattered what? Says Rashi. The Tiruhu lift Dyson. You can actually redeem it onto money. And bring money to Yerushalayim. The Kivan, the Charb Yerushalayim, because since Yerushalayim was destroyed, you don't have to adorn Yerushalayim because it's in ruins. So therefore, that was another possible takana. What is that? The Sanya is, it says, they used to tie this crimson thread on the outside of the ulam room. Hilbin, if it turned white, they were all happy when this Azazel, the scapegoat, was pushed. Well, Hilbin, if it didn't turn white, they were worried because maybe Hashem didn't forgive them. So Hiskin Shahu Kaishanois al Pesach Ulam Nibifnim. Because people were going in the inside, it was problematic. They were looking, and perhaps that's disrespectful to go into that area. So again, Hilbin Hoyasmechin, Lo Hilbin Hoyatsevim. So Yaskina Shahu Kaishanois al Chetzav Asal, the Chetzav Ben Akranov. What they did was they tied half of it on a rock and half of it on the horn of the animal he pushed. Shel Seir Hamishtalech. And therefore that was the takana that was done. Rav Nachman Yitzchak, my time loy omer kura papa. Rav Malach Isach Adaita Rav Yochanan Zaki Chaver of Derbelezer Mi Havi. Was he really a colleague? Rabbo Havi. He was his Rebbe. The Idach. So Rav Papa will say Kivan de Talmidim Havi. Since there are students, Lav Arach Ar Lamemrule Rabbi Rabcha. It's not proper to call him your teacher. Rav Papa, my time only Amr Krab Nachmar Yitzchak Samalach. If you want to tell me it was Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai, it was Masakinus, Bimei Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai, Mihavi Lashon Zahiris. There wasn't this whole ceremony in the time of Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai of the Beis HaMikdash. He wasn't around during that time. Vosanya. After all, we learn like this. Kol Shana Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai may have Esrim Shana. He lived 120 years like Moshe Rabbeinu, but he was divided into three parts of his life. Mem Shana Asak Meprakmatia. The first 40 years he was engaged in business transactions. Mem Shana, the next 40 years, Lamed, he was learning Torah. Mem Shana Limed, he taught. The Tanya Mem Shana Kainim Shenicher Habayis. 40 years before the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, Lo Haya Lashon Shel Zahiris. There was no longer this string that was Malbin, Elomadim, about it being white, but rather red. Utanan Mishacharav Habayis, it says the word Mishacharav. When the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, Hiskar Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, he was masakin it, but it wasn't white anymore anyways. So it's not possible to say that this is one of the takanas that he made, because the takana was only Mishacharav, only after the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. And obviously that means this wasn't around. The Idach, Ayisam Arbayim Shana the Lamad, those 40 years that he was learning, Talmid Yosef Ne Rabbo Havi. He was like a student that was sitting in front of his Rebbe. The Amr Milsa, he said something, the Isper Taime, and it was explained the reasoning, as we continue on with Beis Aleph, the Kavi Rabbi Bishmei, and they established his Rebbe in his name, says Rashi, Lim Naisa Im Shar Tikainaisa, to include him together with all the takanas, Lahachi Tana Tesha Takanos. That's why it mentions 9. So only the last 40 years of his life, he made the takanos that he taught. So the question is, how is that possible? So again, it's possible that really it happened before, during the time when he was learning, which therefore when the Beis HaMikdash didn't have this, and therefore it's possible this is also included. I skipped a critical Rashi over here of the 6 that are in this parak. So look at this Rashi. Chada Hai. One is the one that we were just talking about. The Kohanim have to wear shoes. That cannot wear shoes, rather, for Dochanim. The Chamish Namastisin. Hisin Shoy Toikin. They would blow the shofar. The Shehi Lulav Nitel Shiva. They would take the lulav all 7 days. That She Yom Hanaf Kul Aser. The day of waving, that entire day of the Minchas Omer is Aser, to eat Chadash. She Mekabin Kol Yom. They Mekabel Edis all day. That they would only go to this designated place, even in the presence without the Rosh based in. Okay, let's see a couple of questions, and then we'll stop. Question 2. Mahais that the kanas Rav Yochanan Zaka bekerem Rabbi Mahais that the kanas Voloshin Shil Zahirus. So again, when it came to Kerem Rabbi, you don't actually have to bring the fruit to Yerushalayim like it was in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, because it's already destroyed. There's no need to actually to adorn the cities with the fruits. Lashon Zahirus Hiskin Shalhayim Anichan Halashon Beis Hamikdash Chatz B'Sel V'Chatz V'Nekranav, that instead of the string being by the Beis Hamikdash, it was tied around the horns of the sa'ir, of the he-goat that was pushed. TA, which we did already, TA 15. Very difficult question here. Ma hoya hashir shel yoim hamusav shel Shabbos u'ma hoya b'mincha. So as we said, that when it came to Musav, it was Haziv Lach from Hazinu. It was a 6-week rotation, different parts of Hazinu. And Mincha, they would say 1 week they would do Az Yashir Moshe, another week they would do Micha Meicha, and then the other one would be Az Yashir Yisrael. Ad Kan.